Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the three I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Break Free to Brilliance podcast. This is your friend and host, Seema. I know your time is valuable and I really appreciate you choosing to spend it with me each week. This space is where we come together to have real, bold conversations about stepping into our power, owning our success, and breaking free from limitations, both seen and unseen. I look forward to these moments with you because together we are redefining what is possible. We're continuing our celebration of Women's History Month, and I want to start with a truth that is both powerful and urgent. It's about your voice. Your voice matters. I know you heard me say this before. Your voice is your power, it is your influence, it is your mark on this world. And yet, for generations, we've been conditioned to silence ourselves, to second guess, to hesitate, and to wait for permission that we never actually needed. The women before us have fought hard for the freedoms we enjoy today, and I'm so grateful to them. We have rights our grandmothers, even mothers, could only have dreamt of. But just because we have more freedom doesn't mean the silencing of women's voices hasn't disappeared. It has just become more subtle, and at times it's very blatant. It's in the way our opinions are still undervalued in meetings, in homes, in groups. It's in the fact that women led businesses receive less than 3% of venture capital funding. It's in the reality that at the current pace, achieving full gender parity globally is projected to take another 134 years. Let that sink in. Another 134 years. Not like another 20 years or another 30 years, but 134 years. I guess you can tell that I am totally blown away by this number, meaning that we are not going to see it until 2158. And that's probably like 5 generations from now that is going to see this. And that's according to the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report. So let's just let that sink in. And I really feel that it is our responsibility to make history in reducing this number of years. And I've seen, as I've studied history, that major shifts have happened because women refuse to stay quiet, because women refuse to shrink, and because women stepped into their power. Let's talk about some of the self-made women millionaires who defied all odds and paved the way for us. First one is Madam C.J. Walker. She was born to formerly enslaved parents, became the first female self-made millionaire in America with her hair care empire. There's even a movie on it on Netflix. When Black women had virtually no economic power, Sarah Blakely started Spanx with $5,000 of her savings. She was rejected multiple times, but she kept pushing forward to build a $1 billion brand. Oprah Winfrey, whom we all know, she came from poverty and faced discrimination at every turn. She became one of the most influential. She became one of the most she became one of the most influential women and wealthiest women in the world. These women didn't wait for permission. They took their place at the table, and now it's our turn. I want you to answer this question honestly to yourself. Are you fully using your voice? Are you stepping into the power that is already within you? Or are you holding yourself back in ways you don't even realize? Because the truth is, Some of the biggest barriers we face aren't the ones society puts in front of us, it's the ones we create for ourselves. The invisible boundaries we don't even question. We've been so conditioned by our environments and upbringings that we don't always notice how we're playing small. And today, we are going to change that. My kids showed me how I was settling for the status quo. My kids have wisdom beyond their age, and they showed me the difference in how my parents treated me and my brothers through my behavior and reactions. And I was so used to some of these things that I didn't even notice. Sometimes it takes a neutral person to show you the mirror. And children, bless their hearts, they're very open and honest and forthcoming. And I am so grateful for my children who did not settle, who made sure that I heard them and made, took action to make changes for the better. And I also learned why I used to second guess myself constantly. So for me, breaking free didn't just happen in my career, it started in my own home. I used to second guess myself constantly, and when I got married, I was always asking my husband's opinion before making decisions. Now, don't get me wrong, I still value his input, and there's many decisions we make together, but I realized I was actually seeking permission from him rather than making the choices for myself. So I stopped. I started making decisions on my own, trusting my intuition, and honoring my voice. And you know what? It was actually a relief for him too. He actually felt a lot of pressure by me doing that. The world didn't end. It turns out I actually know what I'm doing. And let's talk about this podcast. When I first started Break Free to Brilliance, I only did guest interviews. I felt safer letting others share their expertise while I stayed in the background. And my reasoning was that I am providing this platform for others to amplify their voice, which is true. That is the fact even today. And I love doing guest interviews and I still love great conversation, but I've also learned that my voice deserves to be heard just as much as anyone else's. So I've started doing more solo episodes and getting more comfortable in getting my voice out there. Even in networking meetings, I used to wait until the very end to introduce myself. It was as if I didn't want to take up too much space. And when it was my turn, I would go through really quickly, really fast, so I don't take up anyone else's time. Now, you need to be mindful of the time, but not so much that you don't get yourself heard and don't give yourself the space. Now, if I'm not the first one to speak, I make sure I'm at least in the middle. I strive to be the first, but some of these women are really fast, like Olympic sprinter fast. So I'm still working on my speed, but I'm definitely no longer waiting in the background. And I realized that every time I stayed small, I reinforced the invisible barriers that hold women back. So I stopped asking for permission. I make decisions for my business and my life without waiting for approval, without feeling guilty, and without doubting myself. Because if we want to change the landscape for women in business and women in all areas, actually, we have to start with how we show up in our own lives. I want to ask you another question. Where are you waiting for permission when you don't actually need it? What decisions can you start making for yourself today or stepping into more powerfully for yourself? I believe success isn't selfish. Actually, it's your responsibility to be successful. Here's something we don't talk about enough. You are allowed to want success. You are allowed to want financial freedom. You are allowed to build a business that supports not just your community, but you. Somewhere along the way, we have been taught that wanting wealth, wanting influence, wanting to make a bigger impact is too much. That we should be grateful for what we have, and I'm not talking about gratitude here. That we shouldn't be too ambitious. I don't even know what does that mean. What does being too ambitious mean? But I know one thing for sure. The more successful you become, the more good you can do in the world. And actually, this is your birthright. Let's look at the numbers. According to the National Association of Women Business Owners, women owned businesses make up 42% of all US businesses. Yet they generate only 4% of the total business revenue. And here's another staggering fact: 50% of women owned businesses fail within the first 5 years, often due to lack of funding, lack of mentorship, or lack of confidence to scale boldly. These aren't just statistics, my friends, they're a call to action. So let's shift this perspective. The money you make isn't just for you. It's for the people you employ, the businesses you support, and the movements you fund, and the opportunities you create. So every time you grow your business, you expand your ability to change lives. But that doesn't mean you need to apologize for also wanting the luxury lifestyle that you dream of. Whether that looks like traveling the world, whether it's buying your dream home, or simply having the financial freedom to say yes to things that matter to you. This is, again, your birthright. And I want you to honor that. I can't tell you the number of women I speak to that really feel guilty for wanting these things for themselves as well. It's all about serving others. But you can't serve others if you're not serving yourself. And it's okay to serve yourself. It is not selfish. It's actually necessary. You need to lead by example. So what is the solution? What can we do to what is the solution? What can you do today? And it's these four things. Number 1, own your success. Stop downplaying your wins. If you're making money, say it with pride. If you're building a thriving business, claim it. Number 2, raise your prices. You deserve to be compensated for your expertise. Stop undervaluing yourself. Number 3, speak up. Whether in meetings or on social media or in your community, your voice matters. Use it. And number 4, support other women without speaking for them. Create opportunities, mentor, collaborate, but empower women to stand in their own strength. I want to leave you with this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt: no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So, are you ready to break free from the limitations, both external and internal? Are you ready to step into your power fully? I want to leave you with this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt: no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So, are you ready to break free from the limitations, both external and internal? Are you ready to step into your power fully? My mission is to amplify the voices of women to help them be seen, heard, and valued in their industries. Through my platforms, through my project management business, through my book writing, through my publishing services, and this podcast, I am committed to ensuring more women step into leadership, grow their businesses beyond six figures, and claim the success they deserve. The more successful we become, the more impact we can create, not just for ourselves, but for our communities and the next generation of women leaders. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another woman who needs to hear this message. And remember, I am so proud of you for breaking free and stepping boldly into your brilliance. Happy Women's History Month. Happy International Women's Day. And until next time, this is Seema. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast. And I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.